You're listening to Ask When, the podcast. Folks from all walks of life talk about their daily hustle and bustle, living and celebrating life, sharing tips on becoming champions, especially for those who are muscling mental and physical disabilities. Ask When, the podcast, with your host who has mustered over 30 years living with cerebral palsy and going strong. Author and cerebral palsy advocate Wynn Charles. Ask When, the podcast starts right now.
Welcome to Ask When, everyone. You guys figure out the unique name club here. Chastain and Wynn. You guys figure it out, because that's who I have with me today, Miss Chastain. And so I'm going to let Miss Chastain take it away and share her story.
Hi, so I'm Chastain with the Pod Pod Cvlt Cast, and I am somebody who is disabled, and I came to podcasting and met Wynn through the podcasting world, and I'm so glad that we haven't connected in person yet, but I'm looking forward to hopefully at PodFest next year.
Yes.
Yes. We're going to have a good time next year.
Oh yes, we are. No, I went down this previous year before.
I did too.
Else.
I saw you.
Yeah.
I just didn't get to talk to you.
You did. Everyone saw me. Those who got to talk to me were lucky, because I'm doing this. If it gets canceled, it gets canceled, but I'm doing this. So, yeah.
Exactly.
So, Chastain, why did you start podcasting? Because there are not very many women in general doing podcasting, let alone disabled women.
You're right. So, I live with my husband, and I also live with my husband's girlfriend. We're polyamorous, and I have another partner, and I am really lucky and I think really privileged to have an excellent support system around me. And I think that comes from the fact that I had to completely change my entire life when I became disabled. So I'm 40 now, and when I was 32, I started experiencing extreme pain that was different than migraines and headaches that I'd had before, and that pain just didn't go away. I have a condition called trigeminal neuralgia, and trigeminal neuralgia is a condition that affects the trigeminal nerve, and some people have a version of this condition where it affects them kind of like a thunderstorm and it comes and goes. And some people have a version of this condition where it just happens all the time. And I am, I joke, lucky enough to have the special rare form of this rare condition where I am in pain all the time. And so I spent the first couple of years of my condition, not being diagnosed, not having hope, feeling very lost, feeling hopeless, not having passion projects, not having things to do. And I met a lot of people who were like me, and it took a long time for me to find who I was and find a path. And that path led me to become a life coach and a relationship coach. That path led me to opening my heart and my mind to building better and stronger relationships and communicating more, because when you're in pain all the time and you can't do things, you have to really ask for things. You have to express your needs in a healthy way. It's really hard when you're disabled to be in relationships, and it was really affecting my marriage. I lost a lot of friends. I disconnected with family. It really affected stuff. So I started down a path of sharing knowledge and sharing information and trying to reach out to people who were suffering in different ways in the chronic pain community. And along the way, I found that people who were also in alternative relationships, like I was, who were polyamorous and in open marriages, also needed some knowledge and needed some help. So I started working towards coaching them and helping them have better relationships and better communication. And
And,
we would go ahead.
and I was going to say, it just dawned on me. Trust me, you guys. I've been working on myself um, since May 19th, 2019, when my father passed away. And it just
Mhm.
dawned on me that I was always told my CP was bone and joint. Well, it just dawned on me as I'm sitting here talking to Chastain that I also have a well, not only do I have a neurological disability, I have
Mhm.
pain with that
Yes.
neurological disability. And
Right.
it just dawned on me. Yoda. Okay, that's a little scary.
Right?
Me
And that
sitting in the
pain,
podcast and just
it
listening to Justin's story, and I'm like, I have pain. I have physical
yeah,
pain.
it's tiring, right? It's exhausting. And I think that women especially, your question was how did I get into podcasting? Well, I think a lot of it comes back to just trying to be a woman in the world in general, like trying to get doctors to listen to me as a woman, trying to get doctors to believe my pain and not just throw pain medication at me, trying to get people to give me a diagnosis and give me help. And then when I became a coach, trying to be taken seriously with the knowledge and advice that I could share and not just written off because, oh, you know, you're just some chick who's in a weird relationship. Like your husband probably knows more than you do, or your husband talked you into this. So when we started podcasting, it became important to me to show that you can have relationships and they can be equal in communication, and that polyamory is a lifestyle that oftentimes women are leading those relationships and are the ones who are initiating those relationships because they have needs. And then with pain and just starting podcasts, I see so many powerful women starting podcasts right now. And this pandemic, especially, I tell you what, Lynn, it's so crazy and amazing and awesome how many cool women I have met through the podcasting community. You and just so many, just such power, such beauty, such creativity, and so many women who are podcasting for their businesses, podcasting for their passions, podcasting for their heart, podcasting just to stay a little bit sane right now. And it's
Yes,
something that
let's
helps.
face it.
Yeah, it helps me, and it helps me stay focused, and it helps me not focus on the fact that yeah, I'm disabled, yeah, I'm in pain, and but I mean, you know what? When you lead you lead a really great life. You lead an amazing, fulfilling life. People love you. You are working on yourself and learning and growing, and you do this podcast to help people and to introduce the world to other people, and also so that you get to meet cool people. And
Yes.
that's a thing that you're doing and putting out into the world that's so special and important. And that takes energy that sometimes we don't have.
No,
And that's,
no, we
yeah.
don't have it. No, we don't have it. And
Right.
no. And people have said to me, well, not my age necessarily, no, my stepmom, but people on the outside looking in have said, well, thank God you have a brain. And I'm like, okay, you just, you just really set my nerves on fire because, um, Yeah, you just really
Mhm.
sent my nervous on fire because I'm trying to teach people about disabilities.
Mhm.
I don't need you saying that stuff. I and then I told someone about that. They almost flipped. They're like,
Yeah.
when I have worked with you long enough to I have physically worked with you to understand that CP is a bone and joint condition. It's a neurological condition. You're trying to do the best you can.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. So
Exactly. Yeah.
give give Ashton and I space and grace to you guys because we're not only trying to teach the world about disabilities, we have pain. Ashton probably Chaston probably has pain sitting up in a chair doing this interview.
I do. I do. But it's important to me to get to spend some quality time with you, which I was really excited about today. This was a thing that I had to look forward to today.
Yeah.
And and it was important to me to get to tell the world about trigeminal neuralgia because it's something that people don't know about. And if if anybody out there is having constant pain in their face that seems different than a headache, it seems different than a migraine, and it seems like lightning has struck their face, that might be a thing to talk to your doctor about. And it is a disability. It is something that has disabled me, and I spend a lot of time in my bed. I spend a lot of time not being able to do the things that I want to do, which makes it very important to me that when I am able to do anything at all, that those things are meaningful. And that's why
Yes.
I podcast.
And you know, podcasting, you guys don't know this, but podcasting seems very lonely and
Yes.
at times it seems very lonely. And that's why I started Ask When because I couldn't do a solo show. I couldn't talk to myself. I mean, but the impact that Chaston and I are making is a good one. And now, Chaston, what is your favorite book and what is the title?
So my favorite book is a book by Don Miguel Ruiz called The Four Agreements. And it is a book of Toltec wisdom, and it is something I live my life by. And I recommend that everybody give it at least a read or at least a Google search once in their life because it
Yeah.
changed my life and how I interact with people in relationships, especially because pain can really skew how you're feeling and cause a lot of anxiety and cause a lot of feelings of loss and it can cause you to be a little irritable. So sometimes it's important for me to
Oh, yes.
remember. Yeah.
Oh, yes,
so,
it can. Oh, yes, it
yeah.
can.
So that one helps me a lot.
And so, if your best friend had to write a book about you, what would the title be?
I think that I think that it would be called uh Chastain colon she meant well. I think that I have a
Chaston,
lot of
she
good
meant well.
she meant well. Yeah. I have a lot of good intentions. They don't always pay off, but I have a lot of good intentions. I have a lot of good hopes for humanity
Yeah.
and yeah.
And so, Chaston, what is your morning routine?
When I wake up in the morning, I make my bed if I in fact get out of the bed. And if I'm not getting out of the bed that day, I stand up and make the bed and then I get into the bed with different blankets and then I have a cup of coffee and I check my podcast statistics to see if anybody else is listening to our podcast. And then I check podcast communities to see what's going on with the podcast people that I know, because those are the people that have been really exciting me in my life because of all the just awesome creativity that I see.
Yeah. And I have to tell you something. I vented on Facebook publicly too, and I think it was you that said people are weird. I said being a journalist with a neurological disability is hard, and people are saying, "Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing it?" And you said people are weird, and I got a kick
Right.
out of that one because I'm like, people are weird. People just don't understand what CP is, what
Mhm.
your disability is. They just don't.
They don't. And they don't take the time. And
They don't
honestly,
take. They don't. I finally asked my friend who was helping me. I said, "Have you ever Googled CP?" And she goes, "Yeah." When I first met you, and she goes, "Well, you have taught me a lot too." And I'm like, "Well, thank you. You should not be saying what you're saying." And it's like, "Ay, people are just weird. People are just weird. It's definitely annoying." And so, if you had to move houses and
Mhm.
take your family with you and your other side of your family, your husband, girlfriend too, um,
Mhm.
what would what else would you take? You could only take 5 things.
5 things. Okay, I would take, oh gosh, excuse me. I would take my dog. I would take my computer. I would take mascara. I would take a scrunchie, and I would take a good moisturizer.
A good moisturizer, yes.
Yeah.
And so, um, Chastain, if you don't mind me asking, how much help from other people do you need on a daily basis?
Oh goodness. So it depends day to day on what's happening,
Yeah,
but I can't do things like I can't stand up and do the dishes.
yeah,
I
yeah.
can't run a vacuum cleaner. Um, I can sometimes I can make dinner. Like I try to save my energy so that I can cook for the family, but that's not an everyday thing. So my husband and his girlfriend do all the shopping. They do all of the dishwashing, they do all of the major straightening and cleaning. I do things that require more of the like organizational skills.
Yeah.
So, I can bathe by myself, but it's tiring. I typically choose not to, and so thank goodness, I guess, for the fact that everybody is not bathing as frequently now. I just fit right in. um,
Well, yeah,
yeah.
qua- to tell you the truth, you guys, this quarantine has saved people with disabilities tenfold because we're not using our energy to walk out the door.
Right. I mean, I stay home most of the time anyway, but I haven't had to leave the house since March 16th, and
Yeah.
I put makeup on one day this week. No, 2 days. I put makeup on 2 days. And that was the first time I had worn makeup in a long, long time. And it's
Oh,
exhausting and painful for me to put makeup on.
yeah, I
So,
tell you,
yeah.
I, by the
Yeah.
end of, you guys don't know this, but you guys do know I need 24 hours, yeah. And
Right.
by the end of me getting dressed in the morning, I'm like, do I have to go sit in the chair and do
Yeah.
podcast interviews? Do I have to be
Yeah.
a functioning woman? And I'm like, oh, this,
Yeah.
yeah, that's why I go to bed at 8 o'clock at night because I'm like, I'm exhausted. I am
Oh my gosh.
exhausted due to
Yes.
CP.
Yes. I go to bed at 9 o'clock. I'm tired at 6 o'clock. I'm ready for bed at six
Yeah,
o'clock. I
yeah,
take 2 naps a day because I'm just so tired all the time.
yeah,
Yep.
no.
I hear that. I hear that.
So, Chastain,
So
do you have any questions for me as we wrap this interview up?
I do. I do. I want to know what you are most passionate about right now.
I am most passionate about seeing you have 0 credits left on your degree. I want that 0 so bad. I want that 0 so bad. It's now at 59, you guys, and I want that 0 so bad. And that 0 is
Oh.
not coming until April 1st, 2022. And I want that you have 0 credits left on your degree, and I want
Mhm.
that journalism degree so badly, you guys, so that I can move on to either psychology or intuitive health coaching because I just learned um, over the past week that I'm a helper. I just have to stand up for my rights and I can help
Right.
people in ways that I can. But I want that you have 0 classes to take. I want a Zale monk so bad. And no, it's not a F, you guys. It's a you have graduated monk. So I want a Zale monk so bad. So that's what I'm
Um,
super passionate about.
you'll get there. I believe in you.
Yeah,
I believe in you. I'm excited for you. I'm excited about everything that you're doing right now.
yeah, no. So I just want that degree to be done, to be over with, because
Mhm.
I unfortunately had to transfer programs, and I was supposed to be the graduating class of 2020, but that didn't work. That didn't work in my favor. But I just want that degree over with and done.
I support that. You
So,
will get there.
Justin, do you have other questions for me? Is that it?
I have one more question for you.
Yeah, go.
What is your favorite pastime that is fun to do right now? That isn't podcasting, that isn't school, that is that really boosts your spirits, that makes you feel good about yourself, that makes you feel good about the world. What's keeping your life fun right now?
What's keeping my life fun right now is
Mhm.
just um, I have, and I've always liked to travel. I've always liked to hang out with people. Well, since we can't travel, I've always liked to. I'm always a um. Let's hang out with people. I don't care if it's in a car. I don't care if it's in my house. So the people I'm around with the people I'm around and people checking in on me are
Mhm.
actually they know me well enough to say, yes, you're okay, yes, you're fine. So this shelter place I think has taught all of us and by the way, you guys, if you're listening to this in the future, we're recording this on April 19th, 2020, as we sit through coronavirus, both
Mhm.
Justin and I. And so I think the people around us are keeping us sane right now because um, if we didn't have the 24-hour help that we had, I happen to have aides coming in, and then my
Mhm.
stepmom doing the 24-hour care if I need it because my aides leave. And so if we didn't have people around us, Justin, you and I both, I don't know what we would do. I keep thinking of
I don't know
those
either.
seniors. I keep thinking of the senior
Mhm.
living communities. Ugh.
Yeah, it's it's sad and scary. My heart has been really going out to anybody right now who's living alone, regardless of their age or health or anything. I think it's tough
Yeah.
for anybody living alone because
No. And
I think the whole world
no,
really needs a good strong hug right now.
which we're not allowed to do.
Right.
And so, but the funny thing is, I the only thing that's making me angry, and the only thing that's making me upset is help for the disabled.
Right.
The rest of it, I'm fine with. The rest of it, I'm a homebody anyway that likes to be a social butterfly when I have to be. I'm a social butterfly, but I'm a homebody because of CG and people know that. And so I am just angry that the disabled is not getting help. And I don't care about ages, I don't care about disabilities. I just want people to get help.
Right. I
Yeah.
agree. I'm with you.
So, Justin, where can people find you and where can people get a hold of you if they choose to do so?
So our podcast can be found at podpodcultcast.com, and I will spell that out because our podcast name is spelled so weirdly. It's PodPodCvlt Cast.com, and all of our social media, all of our episodes. We have a community that's for people who have any kind of curiosity about non-monogamy or even kinky things. That's a Discord chat that's available through our Patreon. All of that's linked through our website. So all you have to do is go there and you can find our Facebook and our
Yeah.
Instagram. It's all in one spot.
Yeah. And then Google Google finally, and it makes me so happy. Google finally got an app on the iOS side. So now, and I have actually subscribed to Chastain's podcast in Google.
Yay!
And so, yay! So, yay, one more subscriber, which
Yay,
for
thank you.
those of
I listened to Ask
you,
Gwen.
yeah, yeah, no. For those of you who want Google, yes, Google is finally on the iOS side. Finally, I don't have to grab people's phones anymore and direct them to Stitcher. And no, someone said to me the other day, who I talk to, who knows that I have a podcast, who actually subscribed to a couple podcasts because she was just curious about it. She goes, "That must make you so happy that Google finally listened," and it does
Mhm.
because all these podcasters wanted to get mad at Google because Google is so wonderful, but at the same time, they want picking up the pace, whereas Apple Podcast is picking up the pace, Pocket Cast is picking up the pace, everyone else but Google
Right,
is picking up the pace. So for
right.
those of you who need transitional link and universal link to hand to someone on the Android side, Google's the best bet. So yeah. Anyway, you guys, I appreciate Chastain coming on and sharing this story. I hope you learned more about disabilities and all that other fun stuff. And then I will catch you guys next week. If you want to share this episode out, please be my guest. And please just be aware that if you listen to kids, You may have the birds and the bees talk, but that's okay. It's more about spreading awareness about disabilities than the birds and bees talk. But I appreciate you guys supporting us and go listen to Chastain's podcast and tell her what you think. Also tell me, and I'm all over social media nowadays. And so you guys can come find me and Google me and figure out if I'm else. Thanks, you guys. Bye.
You just listened to Ask Win, the podcast. To become a guest in the show, visit our website at askwin.weebly.com or call 816-591-3399. Just look for Danielle. Connect with Win on Twitter at Win Kelly Charles and like our Facebook page at Butterflies of Wisdom. You can also purchase Win's book through Amazon.com or get a copy of the audiobook through Audible. Ask Win, the podcast.